Welcome viewers, my name is AJ Oba and this is Cleveland TV in Diaspora. Cleveland TV in Diaspora is an internet TV service created to bring Africans back home and in diaspora together to celebrate and appreciate their achievements. Tonight I have a guest, a distinguished guest and gentleman by name Dr. Bashir Olalekan Obasekola. He's my guest tonight. He will be taking us through on a very important issue this night. And before I go there, I would like to urge my viewers out there to go and subscribe to cleveland.com so that you can keep pace with our programs and services. Welcome viewers to Impact with AJ. Okay, here we go tonight. I have a distinguished guest on the platform tonight on my hot seat by name Dr. Bashir Olalekan Obasekola. He is a continental chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization Europe. The acronym is NIDO. So he is here today, and our focus for discussion today is why he's running for the office of the chairperson of NIDO Europe for the second time. So I'll be introducing him tonight, and I'll give him the opportunity to introduce himself to our viewers. So welcome viewers to the program. We have Dr. Bashir tonight. So Dr. Bashir, I would like to give you the opportunity to express yourself. Who is Dr. Bashir Olalekan Obasekola?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure being here, and it's a pleasure being in this particular studio. My name is Dr. Bashir Obasekola. I'm an economist by training, a PhD holder in economics, and I've been in the diaspora for quite a long time. Specifically, I was in the Soviet Union, USSR, but now in Russia. I work in Russia. I'm a director of economics at the Independent Media Group, an IT publishing company. Of course, I've been around the Nigerian diaspora and Nigerian community for a long time. I have served in different positions. I was the pioneer president general of Nigerian community in Russia for many years before I became the chairman of Nigerians in diaspora in Russia chapter. And later on, I was the vice chairman of the board of trustees of Nigerian diaspora Europe. That was in 2014 to 2016. Then in 2020, I came back as the chairman of Nigerian Diaspora Organization Europe. So this is who I am.
Okay, thank you. Now I want to look at this your organization called NIDO. I know it's about Nigerians in diaspora because it's the acronym for Nigerians in Diaspora Organization. I'm very sure that not every Nigerian in diaspora knows much about NIDO. And as a leader of this organization, can you tell us in brief the founding objectives of your organization? What is the founding objectives of this NIDO?
Thank you very much. NIDO is the Nigerian Diaspora Organization, just as you rightly said. It is spread all over the world, but specifically the European arm of that organization is what I am the leader of. The aim and objective for the organization is to galvanize the human and material and financial resources of Nigerians in diaspora, for the homeland development. That is the main aim of the organization, which is a mission that we've set, for itself, since its inception in 2000. Just a brief history of how it came about. Nigerians in diaspora organization came about during the Olusegun Obasanjo's coming in as a civilian president in 1999. But in 2000, when he was going all over the world trying to revive the good image of Nigeria, and he met a lot of Nigerian professionals spread all over the world, and so he was amazed and said, "Oh, if you guys are so spread all over the place and you don't have a very formidable and consolidated organization where diaspora, the professionals will be the base of such organization, then what are you guys doing?" So he challenged us and supported that movement for establishment of Nigerian diaspora, NIDO. And it has since been spread all over the world. It's happened in Atlanta. That was the first place. That's NIDO America, as we call it. Then later on, NIDO Europe and Asia and all over the place. So, and it has chapters in all the countries of Europe. For example, in Europe we have 23 chapters now currently. Of course, we're aiming to have it in all the European countries, which is 44 countries of Europe. Where we can have where there are Nigerians, we want to have a chapter there. So that is how NIDO was formed, and that is the structure. So the continental body is what I'm leading, but in countries we have different NIDO chapters, and they have their own their chairman, or sometimes his lady, and that is but structurally they belong to the same structure of NIDO as a European, as a continent. So I lead the chapters through that central body of the Central Executive Council of NIDO in Europe.
Okay, thank you. I'm also aware that you're aspiring to be re-elected as the chairman of NIDO Europe in your upcoming election. Now, my question is, what's your motivation for seeking to be re-elected as chairman of NIDO
Yes,
Europe?
I came in November 2020. I won the election for the leadership, and we had a lot of aspirations and things we wanted to do. Of course, nobody foresaw that there would be a lot of challenges in terms of the COVID restrictions, and also the war that Ukraine, Russia, that's also still going on. So, but despite those challenges, we were able to do a lot in our in the first coming. Which, first of all, when I was coming in 2000, I segregated a lot of tasks to be done, to be carried out. First of all, internal strengthening of the structure and the working mechanism of the organization, which involves a lot of reforms and regulations, trying to put sanity into the system, so that as professionally based organization, we must be able to do things properly, and that will make it more interesting and more effective for a lot of people to get interested in the organization, so that it won't be like the those organizations that we had come to replace, if you can use that word. When it was established in 2000, there were a lot of proliferation of organizations, but it is an attempt to to galvanize all these organizations that NIDO was formed. So for us to be able to stand in that type of position as an umbrella organization, we need to put our house in order. So my aim was to put that house in order, and they do housekeeping, good housekeeping. And at the end of the day, those things will materialize in getting us a wider scope of involving the and getting those professionals that we want to have as our base of operation. So we had that aim, and we're able to do a lot in that. Of course, I will say that we are able to finish that process. That is the reason I'm coming in, because I believe that we have laid, we have taken the first step, and second step has to be taken. They say, a journey of a million times take one step, to start, and that is what we intend to do in terms of internal cohesion and discipline and structuring of the organization. Then the second one is, improving the working relationship between government and the organization. We need to put ourselves in that position that government will take us, serious, and whatever we say and whatever we do, they will see it as a, professionally, motivated position or action, and those are the things we are doing now currently, and we believe that because 2 years is too small to do most of these things, or make it more permanent in terms of approaches. So we want to make sure that that type of things that we're doing to make the structure, to strengthen the structure, remains in place at least for the next 2 years if I'm elected. And another thing we want to also do is to improve on our membership drive. We want to make sure that we have more members. Yes, we know that not all the 16 million or 17 million Nigerians, maybe 7 million in Europe, can be member of NIDO. But nevertheless, we must have substantial number of Nigerians who will be financial members of the organization. What we do is we are representing, we are pressure group, we are representing the interests of the diaspora. So we must also have that widespread, to the extent that we can, galvanize their interests so that you have that diverse interest, which will be able to mobilize and also make use of. But so the more you have, like you are gathering statistics, the more you have diverse interest, the more you have, people's opinion and people's skills and potentials, the more you'll be able to provide for government, which is the main reason why we are the interface between the government and the diaspora outside the country.
Okay, that's interesting. At this point, I want to ask you convincingly, can you tell our audience, are you convinced within you that you've led NIDO successfully for these few years? And if so, what have you accomplished as a leader of this organization?
Yes, I'm convinced that I've led well. I've not, rocked the boat, because that is firstly very important that you keep people together. Then the second one is to give hope. I've been able to, establish that, to give hope to the diaspora that yes, our voices can be heard. We have the potential, we have the ability. Uh, Apart from the remittances that people always quote, 20 billion, 25 billion yearly that that goes to Nigeria from diaspora. We have the human resources, we have the skills and the potentials to be able to participate in Nigeria professionally and otherwise in anything that that requires our involvement. So in that aspect, yes, we are able to keep that hope and the potential. Also, we're able to get a lot of interest generated into the organization, because unlike what we used to have, where people get disillusioned about looking at what is happening in Nigeria as a yardstick of being interested in what is going on in Nigeria. We always tell people that you don't use that what is happening in Nigeria to discourage you in getting involved, because we are from outside. We need to get involved and contribute to the national development through our skills, through our investment, through our promotion of the good side of Nigeria, because it's very important. And those are one of the things we do. We promote Nigeria positively in terms of making the investment climate in Nigeria interesting for foreign investment to come in. Because if you always emphasize the bad side, it discourages. So you need to look for good things to promote with Nigeria. So we do promote Nigeria. We also, galvanize the business environment, the business interest in Nigeria by providing information. We give information. We have business summit, business, investment mission or trade mission to Nigeria. I also otherwise organize, business symposium and summit here in Europe, and invite people from Nigeria to give information about what is going on in the government, what are we doing in terms of ease of doing business, and what is the future policies and programs of government that we encourage business to come to Nigeria. These are things that we do, and we continue to provide that platform for that type of presenting Nigeria and making the investment climate there interesting for foreigners and Nigerian diaspora also to have direct investment in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I think we are going to go for a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you a critical question based on what you just said now, the impact of the conference and summit, business summit and conferences that have been going on, trying to impact and change the mindset of Nigerians to have that investment mindset. I'm going to ask you a critical question on that as we return. It's still HJ on Clemna TV. So when we return, we'll continue with the program with our special guest tonight. Let's go on break.
Clevenard in Diaspora Television is an internet online TV service. What sets us apart is a unique combination of hit African content, first and exclusive international free movies, series, musics, news, events, documentaries, tourism, teleshopping shows, youth TV programs, and live interviews. Clevenard Diaspora Television is available throughout sub-Saharan Africa and to the diaspora markets worldwide. Take your entertainment with you wherever you go. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, laptop, smart TV, depending on your device. Watch free movies with Clevenard Movies Television. Stop searching for free movies websites and watch Clevenard Movies Television. Watch your favorite African shows anywhere at any time. Don't forget to check out our top 5 TV channels created to get you informed. TV1, Clevenard in Diaspora Television. TV2, Clevenard Youth Television. TV3, Clevenard Movies Television. TV4, Clevenard Teleshopping Television. TV5, Clevenard Tourism Television. To start watching, sign up at www.clevenard.com and follow the easy steps. Once you're done, log into the Clevenard website or app on your device, click on any one of our 5 TV channels, and hit play. We will be very satisfied and happy to welcome you to our team as one of our new business partners. Contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com.
Welcome back. It's Impact with SJ on Clevenard TV, Diaspora. Okay, we have a special guest tonight. Dr. Bashir is with us this night, and he's been taking us through on the activities, the objectives of NIDO Europe. So he's still on tonight, and I'm going to be asking critical questions as we are back. Doc, I just want to ask you at this point, what is your personal vision for NIDO? And what do you hope to accomplish within the next year if you are re-elected?
Well, thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, NIDO is an organization that provides a platform for harnessing and galvanizing Nigerian resources and diaspora resources and human, professionals and skills. And that is the core mission. So what we need to do is to emphasize that in whatever we do. We are, creating awareness in terms of business opportunities that are in Nigeria by working with the necessary people in Nigeria, both government and private. Now currently we have a lot of private company organizations and entities that relate with us in terms of business opportunities, providing both sides of information. We provide they provide the information that are necessary for that investment opportunity to materialize. And that is what NIDO is. So NIDO provide the platform for that type of interaction. So we always call it both sides of the borders across, shaking of hands across the border. And that, I think, is very important for us, because unlike when you look from outside only, you need to know what actually the situation is from inside by talking to professionals, your colleagues, people who are actually doing the thing in Nigeria. So by sharing of information and engaging in networking, we do that engagement. Currently, we have interaction with Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, so which also gives us more information on what is going on. We work with banks, and because they also come to tell us about the business opportunities, the products, services that they have, and with that we also exchange from our own side what we think it could also be of interest to the other party in Nigeria. Estates, businesses, entertainment businesses. Talk about even now we a lot of manufacturing industries that are that diasporas are taking part in, looking for partnership, pitching businesses together with the necessary partners both sides of the border. So those are the things and the mission we are pursuing. So like I mentioned earlier, that it is where how you present yourself that people will take you. So we want to position ourselves in such a position that when we talk, when we advise, when we take part in anything, we will be taken serious, because you'll be seen as professional and well grounded in what you do in both sides of the border. About the negative things that discourages, you also have to have the professional position to let the people at home know that it is doable to resolve them. Because some of the European countries, where we are, some of them, they've gone through these stages of their lives in terms of things that we call chaos in Nigeria now. Okay, it's not safe, it's not business is not going well as we wish, so the infrastructure is lacking. Those countries have gone through those stages. So we need to also encourage people at home to say that you don't need to go to see God, and come back to before you can do. He has given the brain, he has given some of the skills and things that we can do, that we can make our lives better and fast development to come to Nigeria. So those are the things, we exchange of ideas, exchange of professionalism in all these things we do. So it is not a waste of time that we provide such a platform that allows both sides of us to talk and show ourselves of what we can do better. Yes, there are challenges in terms of what is the feedback, or what is the other side, especially the government side. What are they doing to implement some of the things or recommendations that we come up with? Yes, there are challenges there, and I think it is a thing that we can, impact on, in our, not giving up. That is consistent and persistent, engagement with people at home, and letting them also know our discourage, maybe our disheartening situations when we see them not doing things that are as simple as we think it is, especially given our experiences outside the country. To tell them that this thing is doable if you actually put your mind there, or consciously following them. The policies in Nigeria are very good. Problems has always been the implementation, and because the implementation reason being that we are always somehow subjective in doing things, because that my friends business will be affected, or my tribe will be affected, or my private business will be affected. So those type of things does not make policies consistently being implemented. But the diaspora involvement will allow us to be able to get some of this impact of these situations to take place, and be able to effectively come into practice, into execution, rather than just theoretical policies and programs that government put in place.
Okay, thank you. Now, having listened to what you said now, in my opinion, if I consider the state of the country, the state of Nigeria at the moment, if you consider the heightened political tension, the civil unrest, insecurity, bloodbath, and all of that is going on, corruption, and don't you think that an organization like NIDO will be compared with the urgency to do more than they've done so far? Don't you think so?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
You are very right, because that's why I always say that the challenges at home should also be our motivation. We should not be taken aback and run away because of the challenges. About the challenges at home might even be business opportunity. For example, the infrastructure, lack of energy. We could also try to bring businesses to that sector to improve it. What we need to do is to make sure that government has the policy program that allows private businesses to come into that sector, and that is already happening. Like what we used to have, that it's only federal government that have the right to generate the energy. But now it has been, somehow, private sector have been allowed, to come into that business, to be able to establish the production, or of those energy that requires in Nigeria, solar energy, gas, propel energy supply sources. These are things I think businesses where we can get opportunity from those challenges. You talk about road, companies are be allowed to also get involved in road building construction. That you can use certain government tax holiday to be able to build road and all those things. Those are things that I think life in Nigeria has started realizing that there is need for such collaboration or involvement of private sector in some of the things that is only meant for government before. So the challenges in Nigeria should not discourage us, rather should strengthen our resolve in getting involved in making these things, so that it won't be like we're always coming to criticize, because that's what some people see us to be, that those people in diaspora will always come to criticize, but we always come to prefer solution. We prefer to let them see the light, to say these things can be done through this IPP, private PPP, public-private partnership, so that things, the private sector could also get involved in some of these things, and the government alone cannot do it, but the private sector can get involved, and of course the diasporas with the potentials of investment that we have will also get involved, either directly or through our foreign partners to get involved in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. Now, having listened to you with the mindset of encouraging Nigerians to invest back home in Nigeria, that's good. But now, where I have a problem is the unprecedented insecurity that is in Nigeria now. The rate of insecurity in Nigeria is unheard of. Now we have this mindset to go back home to invest to improve our country. Now it is a business of government to protect lives and property. And when government can no longer protect lives and property, it's assumed that government has failed. And as it is in Nigeria, will you say that the government of Nigeria has failed Nigerians in terms of security? Because now you have a vision to go back home, to encourage Nigerians, to sensitize them, to be able to save, to think investment, and also to think home, to invest and improve our country, to improve livelihood in our nation. But now we have insecurity. I want to say that that is a huge challenge to this effort, which means we have to hold our government accountable. And in fact, we have a whole lot of work to do, because you cannot put your money where you are not secured. And that is the case of Nigeria at the moment. And I believe that is one thing, one factor that is discouraging people from investing back home. In fact, people are leaving home not because they don't love the country, but they are not secure. Lives are no longer safe. And properties and businesses are collapsing due to insecurity. So it's a very big challenge. We'll still talk about that later, because Nigeria is having an election. I'm still going to ask you some questions on that. But at this point, I want to know, how would you describe the relationship between NIDO and NIDCOM?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I go there, I want to just mention that you are very right that the security situation in Nigeria, is something that also a big concern to all of us. A secure environment is, it's necessary for businesses to strive, especially when you look, not that you want to create a business that is only few years. You want to have long-term businesses and long-term plans. And for that to have, you have to have a stable environment, of secure environment. So it's very important, and we always do that. We always contact. We even had a security conference where we invited experts to talk about how to solve it. Like I say, our uniqueness is that we criticize and also provide solutions. So that is the uniqueness of NIDO. You make it different from other organizations. As to the issue of that you mentioned, that how do we get ourselves encouraged to be part and parcel of what is going on in Nigeria. It is it is necessary that we have a face, an interface, that will allow us to have government ears, and that is what NITCOM is. NITCOM is, is government side of. Sorry, my boy, you want to come and say. NITCOM is an agency of government that is in charge of diaspora affairs. So it is like the interface between government and diaspora from the Nigerian side, while NIDO is diaspora from the outside. And that is what we have been doing. So since NITCOM was established, thanks to the request and the pressure from NIDO, we were instrumental to making sure that we have a commission. Even we were asking for even a ministry of diaspora affairs, but a commission was given to us, and I think it is also very understandable that when we have such a new entity that is coming to play as a stakeholder in the engagement of diaspora and the government and diaspora, there will always be this what we call them the toothing problems, which is what NIDO and NITCOM had. We have a relationship, a working relationship currently. When I came on board, we decided to allow ourselves to be able to be operational and at the same time be able to collaborate with other entities of government that NITCOM is representing. Because anything diaspora in Nigeria, NITCOM is the major point of contact. So we don't want to lose that type of contact. So we involve and we remain a working relationship with NITCOM. And currently the situation has improved, unlike what we had initially. But the major thing that is still bothering us is the involvement or the representation of NIDO in the governing board of NITCOM. We have not been able to achieve that because the government, the president, has not been able to start to constitute the governing board of NITCOM, where NIDO is supposed to be, represented on the board and also get involved in strategy, discussion and establishment of policies for NITCOM. So what we have now is a working relationship, which we have a lot of such relationships that will be able to allow us to have, what we call a partnership in progress, so that there will not be any, clog in the wheel of progress in the engagement of diaspora, which we represent, and NITCOM also represent from the government side. So that is what we have now, a working relationship that is cordial, but why we continue to remind the audience and remind federal government of the need for a constituted governing board for NITCOM, so that the NIDO's involvement will be total, will not only be limited to the operational side, like I mentioned, but also to the statutory part of that engagement, which that NITCOM Act profile for that agency.
Okay, thank you. I know that leadership is not just about the objectives and the vision that is written. It's beyond that. You have to put the strengths together. And one thing I know is that when it comes to mobilizing and arousing Nigerians in diaspora, is a Herculean task. And on that note, how are the charters of NIDO across the globe relating with the central body where you are the leader?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, NIDO is like a federation in structure, where we have the center and the chapters, as a maybe a federating unit, if you can use the word in that federation. So it is very important we have cordial relationship, we have cordial understanding, and our role at the center is to make sure that we remain focused on our mission. We remain focused on the strategy of achieving that mission. And along the line, yes, there sometimes misunderstanding, or maybe the chapter may look at you as being overbearing on them in terms of what you expect them to be doing. That is, that involves a lot of experience. It involves a lot of diplomacy. It involves a lot of, what do we call it, human interaction to make and different understanding of what the center is doing to them, or what they think should be done. But we are able to largely resolve some of these issues. We had also had the opportunity of even expanding our coast in terms of chapter number. Like I mentioned earlier, we have 23. When we came on board, we had 19. So we're able to, within 2 years, we're able to, add to it. And of course, even currently, there are about 6 countries, discussing with us on establishing chapters in their countries. So that also shows, to show you that, people are getting interested. People want to be part and parcel of it, and the structure of the center and the chapters also has to be strengthened, because when you have new people coming in, there's bound to be some misunderstanding or maybe misconception of what you perceive that is being done, or maybe you think, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done, whereas structurally things are to be different. So what we need to do is to make sure that we have such people orientation, because that is very important for us to orientate people who are coming in new, who has not been part and parcel of the structure before. So they need to understand, what exactly NIDO is, the structurally is doing, what is the relationship between the chapters and the center, how do we make sure that there is no conflict or rivalry, or maybe we can say undue rivalry between the chapter and the center. So we allow that to have a smooth platform whereby we have all of us, working towards the same goal, and not, across purposes that we lead to centrifugal forces into the system. So those are the things. So the relationship, in short, I can say is cordial, but there are a lot of diplomacy and experience that needs to be applied to maintain such a cordial relationship, so that we all remain united organization. NIDO as an organization is one, but operates from different locations, which is from different chapters who are also legal entities in their various locations.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on break at this point. Is Impact with AJ on Klebna TV, and we have on board today Dr. Obasekola on board this evening. So when we return from break, we'll continue this discussion.
In the 21st century's technological advancement, we all seek opportunities to move and network with the emerging space. Introducing Clevenard blog and event posting. Do you think you have some interesting materials, good content, articles, and stories? Then feel free to publish them on Clevenard blog and events page, just as team of our writers are doing presently. By blogging on Clevenard's blogs and events, you benefit from our reach and network. There are a constant stream of people visiting our social platform, and we have figured out just how to distribute our contents. This means you can basically skip the line and get access to a big audience from day one. Furthermore, we can help you get in touch with important people for projects with possibilities of translating your content into other languages and republishing them on Clevenard. This helps preserve and protect your content from getting lost. What's more, you also get to be part of our team with access to our network and lots of exclusives, behind-the-scenes information. And of course, you get full credit for everything you do, which brings you popularity and make extra income. Sign up now on clevenard.com and start blogging to your advantage. Please see the tutorial video on how to blog or post events on Clevenard Blogs and Events. For more information, contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com. Clevenard, your blogs, your identity.
Welcome back with Impact with AJ on Clevenard TV, and we have today on board Dr. Obasekola. Okay, Obasekola is the chairperson of NIDO Europe. So he's on board tonight, and he's been helping us with answers that has to do that revolves around the organization called NIDO. At this point, I would like to know, since I'm in South Africa right now, I would like to know what's the relationship with NIDO Europe and that of NIDO South Africa? Is there any cohesion? Is there any relationship? Is there any operation, anything like NIDO in South Africa? If I may.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a NIDO in continents as coordinating point. So we have what we call NIDO Africa also as a continent. We have NIDO Europe, Asia, Americas, and Oceania. NIDO South Africa, by structure or by constitution, supposed to be part of NIDO Europe and NIDO Africa. We used to have what we call NIDO Worldwide. In that NIDO platform, that NIDO Worldwide platform, we have the representation or the leadership of all the continents, being there as to have a united front on issues that concern everybody. For example, I mentioned earlier that we had a conference on security. We use the NIDO platform to organize that platform, type of conference. So, and voting right, NIDO diaspora voting right discussions, and all of that. So, any discussion that is general to our interest, we use that type of platform to discuss. So, South Africa is supposed to be part of that NIDO Africa. I was mentioning earlier that I was so disappointed that I was surprised, that South Africa does not have, a very strong presence of NIDO there. That instead we have other organizations. But I always say that maybe we need to encourage South African professionals who are there to establish a strong presence or re-establish NIDO in South Africa. I know we used to have it in those days, in the early 2000s, just immediately after the establishment of NIDO and the Obasanjo regime and Yaradua. But I learned that later on, there were a lot of, maybe, I don't know what influenced that, a lot of politics coming in and all those people. And before you know it, NIDO just, faded away, for which is a disappointing, because NIDO is an interface, is representing the diaspora, is the umbrella organization. So I believe that in South Africa, that has to be restored so that we have a strong presence of NIDO. And in presence, of course, have an umbrella organization that can stand for, beyond the community, or like what we have maybe Nigerian Community Association here and there, but NIDO cuts across the border. So beyond South Africa, NIDO has influence. You can work with other neighboring countries. Lesotho, I know they have NIDO in Lesotho. They have NIDO in Swatini, in some other African countries. So I believe that we need to, restore that and bring, NIDO back to operate in South Africa. So it's going to be a good thing. So we work with them. We work across the board, and that will be very good.
Okay, thank you. I'll be impressed to see NIDO function in South Africa. I know that South Africa has its own challenges. Nigerians here have their own pattern of living other than the Nigerians in Europe. So in some instances, some of these organs struggle to thrive. But at the same time, if they can thrive in Europe and other areas in Africa, I believe they can still thrive in South Africa. We have professionals here who can actually spearhead such organ in South Africa. Aside from other organs that we have here that has to do with Nigerians, NIDO can still thrive because it's a kind of umbrella body that exists beyond the scope of South Africa. So it's a very important organ to that regard. At this point, I want to look at the annual Economic Development Summit. I'm aware that you're preparing for such a summit. Now, how would you or how would Nigerians benefit from these upcoming events?
Yeah,
What is
thank
this?
you. Yeah, that's we annually have what we call annual general meetings, and along those preparation, we always have a summit, a business summit to add to it. So this year is not an exception. On the 11th of of November, just next week, we have the annual summit of the business economic summit. Then on Saturday, the 12th of it, we have our annual general meeting, which happens to also be an election year. So these are the events that we always have every year. Of course, if it is not election, it's just a general annual general meeting. So where we have people from different countries of Europe assembly in a particular location. So this time around, it's going to be in Rome, Italy, and we'll be going there with the businesses that are coming from Europe, business opportunity, and we're also inviting people from Nigeria also, to take part in that program. So it's a platform to have businesses interact. It's a platform for opportunities, pitching of businesses together, and also the opportunity of exchanging experiences. Because some of the things we discuss about, okay, we in the diaspora, we hear about a lot of things, some negative mostly. We need to hear from people at home. What are the business opportunities? Why are you guys still in Nigeria, and making big money? How do you do it? So interacting with them is very important for us in diaspora. So also we also want to have market in Europe, for example, and say, okay, where do we, in Italy, for example, how do I bring my products from Nigeria to sell here? Or how do I have business partner from Italy to come to Nigeria to improve my businesses? And these are things that we improved. Last year, we were in Aberdeen, Scotland, UK, and the year before the year, we were Dortmund in Germany. So we moved from country to country and moved the location of AGM to. So such things is very important to also help to have people, who are in businesses and we're able to get them to get involved in this. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. We invite people to come, and we hope the experiences, information, business pitching that they'll be having will go a long way in improving the mission of the organization in terms of bringing businesses to Nigeria.
Well, that would be very, very great. That would be very that would be awesome. Okay, having said that, now I want us to go back home to Nigeria. Now, looking at Nigeria the way Nigeria is today, you and I can attest to the fact that Nigeria's destiny needs to be salvaged politically, spiritually, and otherwise. Things are not adding up. And shortly, anytime from now, we'll be looking at election come 2023. In my view, I would like to ask you, as the chairperson or the chairman of NIDO, and also as someone who lives outside Nigeria, what's your view on the 2023 election, upcoming election in Nigeria, considering the disheartening synopsis of what we'll be talking about and happenings in Nigeria? What will be your view? What's your view and advice to Nigerians?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, let me say the diaspora will continue to be disappointed or feel bad about the fact that we're not able to vote, because diaspora voting is something that we have been pursuing and the government have been promising, but the enabling law is not yet in place. And recently, it was voted down by the National Assembly, which of course to which we show our disappointment, and wrote petition again, to the National Assembly to tell them what we feel about that. But the upcoming election, of course, is very interesting. It's coming at a time that government or the economy of the country has gone through a lot of shocks. Of course, some of them, because of government inactions, and some because of the condition in the world, which of course nobody foresaw, and of course it led to economic consequences. So people are not happy. So result of the election might show or impact on the result of the elections as we go forward. But one thing I think is very important for people at home to understand is that it's not easy to have a nation divided against itself. It will not stand. So even in the Bible, it's written, if we don't, we need to preach unity. We need to preach, a country of peace, so that even after election, we still have a country to come back. So I can only appeal that people should vote wisely, make your choice. Don't go into fighting. Don't go into vote buying or vote snatching or hooliganism in such a way that people will get distracted and not concentrating on the values that those or the candidates are profiling or what they can offer the country, and don't lead to situation whereby we will have distractions and fighting amongst ourselves just because we want to have choose our leaders. So my advice is that there should be peace, there should be orderliness. The votes should count to at its cast by people, and that people should also believe that after the election we have a country that all of us have to be part and parcel of, and make sure that we have peace that will drive progress, because without unity and peace, to drive progress is very difficult. Some of the problems we are having now, some of them is also as a result of disunity, amongst amongst the people of the country. Because if you are united and you feel involved or carried along, your commitment to stability and peace of the country will be higher. And I think that is what all of us should be preaching to make sure that we have peaceful elections in 2023. Of course, it's very interesting the way the candidates are shared. We have a lot of colorations into the candidacy now, but we believe that we are one, and we should remain one despite all those type of choices that people have to make now.
Okay, it's been a wonderful time having you on this program. But at this point, before we go, I'd just like you to paint a picture. What is it that you were not privileged to do within these years in your office as the chairman of NIDO Europe that you would love to do if you are re-elected in this upcoming election of NIDO Europe? What is that new thing that you would love to do that is in your heart? What would that be?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you. One thing which I think is very important for the organization is, the internal cohesion. First of all, we need to establish that. It's very, very important. People should come with the mindset of being united, and there should not be any division. Like I always tell people, when we are in diaspora, we don't have tribe, we don't have religion, we are one. So we should be able to remain one. Then the second one, which I think we should continue to pursue, which is also part of what I foresee, is to have more professional involvement in the organization. We need to go beyond the little, like I say, we do with little. We should go big in terms of getting bigger people, bigger involvement of renowned people, renowned professionals to get interested in NIDO, either as members or as partners, because we are doing that now even with the sport icons, our big, sport people, because we talk about, David Alaba, big names that we know in sport. They have goodwill that we can also bring on board into our system. We talk about Peter Rufai, we talk about Amokachi, we talk about Willow, people who are played in Europe, who still have, when you mention their name, people will say, oh, You are from Nigeria, and they, immediately you say you are a Nigerian, they start mentioning those people. So we want to also utilize them to bring them on board. So it's one of the things which we have started. We are reaching out to them, and I think we need to, build on that. It's one of the reasons why I want to come back, so that I can continue that type of, trajectory for the organization. Then another thing which is very important for us is the way we relate with Nigerian government. We want to put ourselves in a place whereby we not, go in cap in hand, looking for, small handout or something like that in terms of little. We want to, be coming and will be respected with our investment opportunities and potentials that we have by bringing people who could actually do big things. People talk about, some of Nigerian descent who are in big businesses outside the country, in railway system, in airport management and construction, in a lot of, IT, and now that Nigerians are also involved. So we want to have them through our platform, through our organization, to also see, like to encourage them to be in Nigeria, because some of them, unfortunately, they don't want to, even venture there. But we need to encourage them. We need to allow our platform to get them involved and get them interested, since that is the main mission of our organization. We are not a business organization, but we are platform. We are, NGO that encourages, bring information, galvanize people, give motivation. Go to Nigeria with a positive mind, positive this, energy, to bring things, into the system as new things, that we also enrich our rising in Nigeria. So those are the things that I am, willing to continue to pursue, so that we were able to substantially, achieve some of it that we have started with, little steps that would make, 1,000 miles, to be done. Then another thing, of course, the issue of voting right. Of course, we continue to pursue it, and we believe that will be done. And of course, the board, the NITCOM board issue, that we wish that we will be able to, continuously remind and take actions on the issue of how do we make sure that NIDO get involved directly with that structure, and so that we can help, the management of the organization or the commission to do more, even now that they are even doing great, but they can do even greater.
Okay, thank you so much. At least I have some points to take on diaspora voting, more stronger ties with the government, and the internal structure, restructuring Nigerians in diaspora, that's social cohesion, and all of that is some of the takeaway points I'll be going on with now. By the grace of God, I look forward to having you again on this program, maybe I'll say with some of your executive members by the time you have succeeded in this upcoming election. So I'm wishing you success in your aspirations. So that is that. Probably we might have a conversation with NIDO leaders, maybe across Europe, maybe Asia or America or something like that. I think it will be a better platform to really talk about NIDO and what they are doing in different continents. I think that would be a good idea. I look forward to that. It's been wonderful to have you on board tonight. He's still our distinguished guest, Dr. Bashir Olalekan Obasekola, the Continental Chairperson, Nigerian Diaspora Organization Europe, NIDO. So thank you, sir, for having you. We are blessed to have you, and we look forward to having you shortly.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here, and I look forward to coming back as a renewed mandate, with a renewed mandate after the elections. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. So for my viewers, it's still Impact with AJ, and this is Klevner TV in Diaspora. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Hello there. Looking for an African movie? Search no further. Clevenard African Movies TV is here for you. We are dedicated to the acceleration of African films, TV series, documentaries, and lots more. Explore our movies at home or on the go. Clevenard Movies is free to watch on clevenard.com. Don't miss this opportunity. Hurry now. Sign up and subscribe today.